dive heavy pressure coming into it as well. Obviously with the Lee Sin, it is a triple flex, specifically with the jungle changes to come through as well, could easily go down there as well. Another champion we haven't really seen today is going to be the Sylas due to him just being banned away, and with the likes of Lulu still up and available, could be a potential pairing we see as well, where you play for Jiejie here in the EDG lineup. Obviously a jungler as well that goes unnoticed sometimes when the solo laners are just that good, but obviously a huge facilitator as well on some of the carries. Even his Diana performance early in the split was just a monster performance, but this time around it is going to be that Sylas with the Lulu to pair up for the first two picks of EDG.
Not too surprising. When you leave over Zhao and you leave it wide open, Lulu is an amazing pairing just because that ability to buff him up, make him that stronger. I'm even expecting to see that Braum just because that is the triple threat. That is completing that Exodia just in 3 champions. While on the other side, OMG have to find a way to be able to quell that aggression. Quell the fact that they need to be in melee range if they actually want to be able to stop Zhao.
Yeah, with the Ezreal pick, if that were to come through, I'm still looking at some of the supports because every support that S tier right now is still up if you want to secure that. Thresh, Nautilus, Leona, all these scary picks that can still come through. So yeah, on EDG right now, you can fret an AD carry pick, but I think for Meiko as well, who's had some incredible performances on the Thresh as well, that is easily something you could lock in on third here and then just find an AD carry for Viper afterwards if that's what you're looking for.
They might do that. They're hovering that Aurelia. The Aurelia would be one spicy pick for sure, but the Sett makes far more sense to me. Putting Flandre on something that is going to look for these flanks while it could be flexed for Scout into the mid lane. We have seen that EDG like to be able to have Scout on these assassins. Similar flanking style, but someone with far more damage.
And once again, it's all about the solo laners. We keep talking about this, such a high priority for a lot of teams to get this locked in. And we already saw earlier today that you don't need that many AD carries in the bottom. You can even bring up the mages if that's what you want to. Bot lane right now is just very much about keeping it still. But the problem here for EDG is that, or not the problem, the blessing rather, is that you have Viper, one of the best AD carries in the league, and he has to be respected. And you can see that coming through from some of the bans of OMG right now. They're probably saying, okay, we think the Lulu is going to either top or mid, Sett is either solo lane as well, so we're only looking at the last bot lane pieces to come through from EDG.
I mean, well, Meiko is a fantastic Lulu player in its own right. It could be flexed to Scout mid lane. I doubt I'd see Lulu top lane for Flandre. It could be there, but I'm not expecting it. This is what surprises me, seeing the Kog'Maw ban. Even though, yes, the Lulu is already there for EDG, Varus, the champion that does amazingly in the lane into Ezreal, is wide open for the pickings for EDG if they want to take it.
Yeah, but with Ezreal already being OMG, they don't have to worry about it. They can just secure Meiko Thresh. We talked a bit about it earlier, and it actually went through this ban phase as well. And that you just have too many things you have to worry about. Because if you give over the Kalista, you can just pair that up with so many of these engaged supports. You can even put the Sett bottom lane. If you give over the Kog'Maw, there's Kog'Maw Lulu you have to worry about. And then if you just 4-pick Sett now, or the Thresh now here for EDG, you got every AD carry you want to pair it up with. Even the Aphelios, which we have seen Viper favor so much beforehand in this meta.
Could definitely be that. You're right. There's so much that Viper now. The world is his oyster if he wants to pick anything he can possibly imagine. We'll have to be a bit careful. It is into a Nautilus, something that can easily get something that is incredibly immobile on his side. But right now, for the side of OMG, they have got a lot of skirmishing potential, and they continue to double down on that. The Trundle for Aki.
It's actually a bit of an EU thing to do. There's a lot of people who still feel like Trundle into the Sylas can be favorable, because when Sylas jumps into it, well, you just ult him and you just want to try and burst him down a little bit here. So that is going to be the stylistic to come through. Also does help, of course, with bursting out any tanks that you should have, but it is going to be Viper's Aphelios, and I'm starting to see a pattern to who you really want to play for here. Viper can just scale against the Ezreal, can go into the mid game, and that's what we're looking for. But then at the same time, Creme on his Sylas, looking to make some of these plays that we've seen from so many other LPL mid laners before him.
But it is going into Scout, even if Scout is playing Lulu Lulu, it doesn't matter. Scout is an aggressive player, and he's got Jiejie to back him up, to buff him up when looking to fight against Creme on this Sylas, to slow down any potential that the Sylas can take over game that can be a nightmare. But I want to see, as you had said, the Trundle that Aki has try to be able to contend in these skirmishes against Jiejie on Zhao.
Yeah, I'm glad you say that, because with the Lulu, obviously, in a solo lane, it's never just for the Lulu itself. It's for the jungler instead. You're pairing up for the 2v2, so if you're able to get the priority, which you should with the ranged into melee matchup in the mid lane, you should be looking for some of these skirmish in the early game. You should be looking as an enchanter to try and buff off Jiejie on this Sao to try and get these leads. Try and steal away some camps. Take whatever you can in the early game to make sure you're always ahead of the curve, because when you lock it in Sao and Lulu, it needs to be played for, or else it's just gonna fall off the curve.
Could easily fall off, but at the same time, I don't know if Jiejie is going to fall off that easily. Not this EDG team. This team, they have played these fights so amazingly. From the 15 to the 25-minute mark, that is when they thrive. That is when they succeed. They get leads, sure, from their lanes, but once they all come together as one unit, nobody can stop them. Only recently did we finally see a team have the ability to stop EDG, but OMG, are you going to be able to double down on what the work that Top Esports had done before in this first game against Edward Gaming?
Well, at least we'd hope so. Damage profile from EDG here is still very much AD, so all the carries you're looking for is only going to be of one type, and that could benefit you as well when we go into these late game scenarios. It's not going to be too much to do about it in the early game, but once these Ninja Tab Eyes or plated steel caps, whichever you prefer, really starts to come through, once the AD of armor starts getting stacked up on towards the Lee Sin, on the Trundle, it can be tough to deal with some of the backline, and we're going to be looking for some early scouting here in the early game. Looks like we're going to have a split map scenario come through.
I like this play from OMG, trying to see if they can at least find a bit of an edge over Jiejie, wanting to make sure that they're not going to have to worry too much about this Zhao in the early game. Like I said, a lot of people have kind of fallen onto this Trundle to be a counter. In some ways, it's not a true counter towards Zhao, but it is something that can contend with them in these early skirmishes.
Yeah, it's basically just how the two junglers work here. Now we are onto a split map scenario where, because Trundle was able to get on towards the blue buff, Jiejie will have to do the same on his own on towards the other side of the map. And therefore, right now, the Trundle cannot play for top side. Neither can Jiejie play towards the bottom side of the map. I don't think you're too mad about that as EDG, really. I think if you play towards the top side of the map, it's perfectly fine. For Viper, yes, he's immobile on towards the Aphelios, but they started the slow push in the beginning, while Abel was helping take down the blue buff. Viper was tanking the minion wave so it would stack, go up against him, and then push slowly on towards him. So this Trundle being pushed down towards the bottom side of the map in the split map scenario cannot go on towards Viper. I love the adaptation from EDG. It's so intelligent when we watched him play. And Jiejie, he can still play towards the mid lane. He can still play towards the top side of the map. So really, they don't lose too much in this split map scenario. Actually, Aki wasn't able to deal with the wolf camp unless he left one. I think he might have done that.
I think based off
but
how much he
Jiejie can look for top side now.
Oh, are they going to look for a dive onto Nude this early on? There's not really that big of a minion wave. It would have been risky. But here's the interesting play from OMG. That early aggressive style, trying to see if they can bring cold into any fight where Aki is going to be. Unfortunately, it was beautifully read by the side of EDG, and now Creme himself is under threat with how low the flash in to make sure they get the polymorph, the flash away, but the help of the Raptors gets first blood for Jiejie. Scout barely surviving underneath the turret.
Yeah, that was a clutch play coming in there. Jiejie flashing on towards him, not trying to get the W down first, actually waiting for the flash to come through and sniping him over the wall on towards the Raptors. Nice proactive play. Up towards the top side, though.
Nude's looking for the solo play on a Flandre, trying to see if he can bait out the shield. He doesn't want the damage to flash away to make sure there's not going to be that solo kill for Nude top side.
And there we go. Coming through already with Nude, trying to accelerate some pressure on his own after being pushed in. Keeping it up here. Now on towards the replay here. I love it from Scout. He flashes to pull him off Creme to make sure that he's not going to get any of the kill slayer healing, and it's actually just a little muffin dashing at the same time. Gets him with the W there from Jiejie. Just nice setup after they dodged the gank.
Using the W2 to make sure that the wind becomes lightning, just to make sure that they aggro the Raptors so there's no way that Creme could escape from that play, because it was close. He was able to get over the wall. I think he accidentally activated his passive anyways, but you didn't know that as Jiejie, so you want to make sure you can secure it. As Creme, the moment he shows back up mid lane, he continues to try to battle against Scout, even despite being a level down.
Yeah, level down, minion wave pushing into it, but I mean, Creme, he's just accelerating the pressure. He can on towards this Sylas. Still a lot of rolling potential. You get stunned as Lulu in this matchup, you're going to be losing that trade. So it comes down to actually just dodging the abscond and abduct, and if you're able to do that, well, you should be fine. But Creme, he's doing such a good job at finding the CC to win out in these trades.
Guldborg, isn't this why everyone has been so excited about Creme? Why myself, Munchables, we constantly are on the hype train because he's so fun to watch, even though he gets shoved out right here, almost gets cast a curse by myself. He is someone who will try at all points of a game to fight, even if he's behind.
I would have loved for him to dive just as you said that. Like, that would have been...
It would have been hilarious.
Coming in for that one.
Oh yeah, that would have been a good one.
Scout able to push in the mid lane now. Creme, obviously with no TP, will have to walk back and lose a little bit. Aki is going to be spotted on towards this ward. I wonder if Flandre is still going to try his luck and stay under the turret. There's no TP for anyone to help him. No one around.
He's got to get level 6 just in the nick of time to try to be able to fight back against Aki and Nu. Once they see that he's level 6, they bail. They understand that Sett is a tricky champion to dive.
Yeah, and with that dive coming through, it's easy for Jiejie to start up here. The hook, though.
They're getting the cleanse out of Abel, but the damage back onto Meiko doesn't really seem to deter Viper. He's got a level lead. Meiko as well. They are forcing this bot lane underneath the turret, and this is what we were talking about with EDG. Every one of their lanes is a powerhouse to worry about and have to be able to deal with.
That's the thing, and it looks like they're not done with Flandre. They're trying to get up here. He still has that ultimate, though.
How many times do we have to teach you this lesson, old man? Flandre getting the damage back onto both of them. The showstopper to drag back in Nu. 1v2. You cannot stop the boss.
I'm not even sure why they tried that, but now they're vulnerable towards the bot side as well, and it looks like they're going for dive.
And this is it. This is the EDG strategy. Every single lane winning all at the same time. They have now gotten the huge spike, and they're continuing to make sure they lay down the law on Summoner's Rift.
Yeah, I mean, they can still go for this when Ezreal's still around the area. It's Jiejie clearing out the Raptors, or Grumps rather. I wonder if they're going to go for a reset down towards the bottom or go for another dive. I think they're just going to reset. You can see the recalls are coming through, but Abel was quite low under that turret. Trade still happening in the mid lane with Creme, but it just seems like none of them are ever able to finalize it. And here we see it from Flandre's positioning. And I mean, he's probably just question mark pinging right now. Why are these guys coming into me? Aki can do nothing but tanking up. And as soon as Nu joins the fight, he's just getting suplexed and he's just out of there.
It was also so hesitant from OMG. It's almost like if you're going to go for the play, go for it on Flandre, because if you hesitate at all, you saw how Flandre was able to punish them. He essentially had the superhero movie style where the bad guys, they fight the superhero one at a time instead of all of them jumping and try to work together.
And there we go. I mean, yeah. It was hard for them to do it against Sett as well, because with the face breaker, with the haymaker, it's just a reason why you don't gank him, right? But nevertheless, it did happen. And now with Zhao having a huge shutdown on towards himself already, having gold to spend, he could go back and look for items, but OMG, they want to stop that. They want to make sure he can't get the reset before they can get an objective of their own.
This is smart calls from OMG to try to make sure they're not losing out too much, but unfortunately, EDG are already first to rotate as well. They bring up Meiko. You can see Cold, he's on the way, but he's too far out to actually be able to provide assistance.
Yeah, and what you're looking for right now for Jiejie is getting that reset through. He haven't back for a while now. He's only sitting on towards the Phage and the Ruby Crystal, so I think he want to start finalizing some components here for this item, but with the members still sticking around, it's not going to look like that for a while, because as soon as Jiejie backs, they're just going to look for a play, but it's actually a fight going on here.
But it is also a fight with Scout nearby. He's easily able to make sure that Jiejie is perfectly safe, doesn't even have to expend a summoner spell to be able to get out of any fight. But now OMG, you've been able to get that wild growth. You need to make sure, like you said, that you can punish the fact that Jiejie still has yet to recall.
And that's the thing. That's why they keep looking for this one. They're so adamant at getting a skirmish around Jiejie to have it back, but it's not going to pay.
No, the team was not ready for Aki to get picked off like that. They were positioned. They wanted it, but they need to be more concise on how they want to be able to play, because now you have lost another objective over to EDG.
And once again, no top lane priority. Flandre is just there as the first mover. There was nothing for Aki to do. Viper just chilling for himself, waiting for a minion wave to be pushed into him towards the bottom side of the map. It just seems like they can't be punished. As soon as Cold is down to this bottom lane again, Meiko is going to be here as well. And you're back to an even map state, to a point where Jiejie now with this recall, with the Herald, can reset, get the Herald, or get the items rather, and then look for a place to pick down this Herald.
That is exactly what they're going to do. I feel like what we'll see from EDG is go bot lane, get Viper into a better position, because they're already winning mid lane. They're already winning top side completely. 2-0, 2-0, 1 assist for Scout, who's forcing Creme back at all times. Creme wants to fight, but you cannot fight against them. The Glitter Lance won't connect that time around, but Scout on Lulu nearly solo killing this new mid laner player. The bot lane, these fights from EDG, they just continue to try to exert this control all over the map. It gets 2 TPs out. They will lose Meiko in the fight. It's an easy follow-up in from New.
Yeah, make it no flash, but at what cost here? Because New had to TP down here. Flandre is going to get so many plates for himself up towards the top side of the map. A TP in the mid's not going to matter too much. Luckily, Aki was there to pick it up. But I think at the top side of the map, Flandre just picking away these plates is going to be the big grudge you're going up against here. That's just going to be so much net gold to himself. And you're going to be trading that. The kill that you're going to be getting is going to be outvalued by the minion wave and the 2 plates Flandre was just able to pick up. He still has the TP. Herald is still active. You can move Flandre down for the Drake now. You can TP him down for a fight around mid. There's so many possibilities for EDG.
And now they go mid lane. They see that Creme's an easy target, trying to make sure that they can kill him before he's able to escape. Even with the wild growth, he dies. Aki had a little bit of a fight, but just not enough damage. He's a level down to Jiejie. They even have the Eye of the Rift Herald if they want to pop it and take more plates away from OMG.
And it's just so tough for them to play, and with the mid lane priority, they can actually just move it down towards the bottom side of the map where they can look to take one more, and it looks like that's what they're going to be trying to do. Viper coming in with a stacked wave. This team is just so coordinated. Remember, Flandre still has TP as well.
And this is what I was about to say before they got the pick onto Meiko, is I expected EDG to play around Viper, to play around Meiko in this bottom half of the map, because it was the one lane that did not have a massive, sizable lead. Well, now they definitely do.
And they opted in for a split map themselves in the early game, something that really cost News on the top side of the map. They weren't able to get anything done towards the bottom side of the map, and they're not done with the skirmishing. This is EDG Magical.
This is EDG winning decisively at every single stage of this game, and we are only 13 minutes into it, Guldborg. The turret plates haven't even despawned. They kill Meiko again, but it almost feels like they're just bullying him so they can have a little bit of pocket change.
Yeah, and if anyone has to die from the side of EDG, you don't mind it being Meiko. It doesn't really offer too much just yet. He's there to save the rest of his members with a Dark Passage, getting the disengage with a play or the hook. And obviously you're happy about the kill as OMG, but that kill is not gonna be what gets you back into this game. You need more skirmishes like that. You need more picks, and right now it's so hard for them to get. They're trying to do it on the top side of the map, but bottom side is up here as well.
That's gonna be the showstopper away, and he's got the backup of Viper, dude, to make sure that they're gonna be able to escape, even though he took so much damage from the turret. The bot lane of EDG should be able to fall and topple yet another structure of OMG.
And there we go. This should just be another turret for them to come through unless Creme could do anything about it. 4 members are making their way up here.
Oh, and Flandre just TP'd into the bot lane. OMG, if they realize that they don't have to worry about the backup of the top laner from EDG, they could get this. They have to play onto Jiejie as he base check into the pixel brush, takes so much damage. Not going to be able to go hook the land, but they got the damage to make sure he's locked down, and a second kill for Creme.
And this is what you're looking for, a small overextension from EDG, and you punish on it immediately. Viper, though, will still be able to get this top turret, but that top turret was already toast as soon as Flandre started picking it down. So OMG still finding some sort of way to try and pick up gold in towards this game, but remember, 4K down at the moment, 3 minutes on towards... Wait, okay, yeah.
OMG have been down before. They have been way down in gold. Think about the WE series, that game 3. How far behind were they? Yet they still were able to win the series. And here, they were able to get shut down gold for Creme over Jiejie. I feel like these are the moments that that EDG have to be so cautious about against OMG, because if they just give an inch, OMG will make it a mile.
They really will. It comes down to them finding their spikes on towards their champions as well. You're still waiting for one more on towards Creme and Abel. And as soon as you get that, it's all about finding that kick potential. With a kick from Nude or towards
Jiejie. They got a lot of damage on top of him. It's going to be a huge charge, but they got the kill in for both bot laners of EDG. Abel trying to be able to escape this one, but the polymorph fake sure it's a double kill for Viper. Aki, he cannot do anything but watch.
And this is why EDG had that gold stat we looked at in the beginning. By 15 minutes, they're up 1,200. By 25 minutes, it's doubled. And this is how they do it. They keep finding these skirmishes. I will say, though, at the same time, OMG, they're opting into it. They seem very desperate at fighting some of these fights, and they're not done.
Oh, not at all. Aki thought he could save the turret. The structure is long forlorn. You can't do anything but TP in from Creme. He might be able to showstopper his way into the backline as well, but he's going to drag Flandre away and having to flash because he's noticed everyone of EDG is here. Creme cannot escape from Flandre.
And it's only 16 minutes into the game, but it just feels like they've taken over the Baron pit here. This is going to be the Rift Herald going down as well. And a team that's ahead with the second Rift Herald usually is quite good. But this time around, when you're this far ahead, when you're able to win out fights like this, it's just going to get even worse. You can start fights whenever you feel like it. And this is just lovely for Viper. He loved this scenario where he's just able to dish out free damage in the background. You can see he goes completely untouched. Everything is going down to Jiejie. It's going down to Scout and Viper free hitting with those 200 years in the backline.
You let that 200 years smack you in the face like that, and there's nothing you can do. Viper, you got it. The thing is, think about this, Guldborg. You focus Viper, then you're leaving Jiejie alone. You focus Jiejie, like we saw in that fight, then Viper is left alone. It is so difficult for the target selection of OMG. They have to burst down these members before these fights truly commence.
And that's the problem right now. You can see they're also very desperate. They're starting to look for other ways to get back into this game. And I can respect it, because right now, you're not going to be able to just win a full-blown 5-on-5. You need to be a little bit creative. You need to get a bit of cheese to actually get back into this one. But the problem is right now, EDG, they're not falling for any of the traps.
Not at all. This cheese is melting fast. Abel cannot escape from Jiejie. I think they just wanted to get the kill to Scout, but wind became lightning and it flashed in the pan in front of Abel. They even popped the eye mid lane. They're looking to crack this base 18 minutes in.
That's the thing, and they're just going to keep going. Like, there is not a lot of wave clear either onto the side.
Are they going to be able to?
OMG.
No, are they just going to?
They're not going to try.
No, they're not going to try. Are they? Look at Creme. Creme can't get in. That's going to be a secondary charge onto Nexus Tower from the Rift Herald. New was able to show up, but he had to dash back away. EDG, I thought they were going to try to see if they could go for the record in this split for fastest game, but they don't have to. They have nearly a 10,000 gold lead, and we are not even 20 minutes in.
I wonder if OMG can try and get a pick off here. Nope, even Flandre realizes this, and I love this. Usually a lot of top laners would just keep pushing this while the rest of his team is taking Drake, but realistically speaking, if OMG is never going to contest a Drake, they only have one play they can go for, and that play is going to be the top side of the map. So Flandre, realizing this immediately, is just backing off, and with the reset to come through in just a bit here, I can't see much stopping EDG for just trying to go for Baron as soon as it spawns. You get the right guns, the white and the red one, onto what the Aphelios, when this starts, you can just shred it immediately.
I almost feel bad for OMG in this game because you can tell there is a lot of vengeance from EDG from their loss against Top Esports, denying them the perfect split. They are taking it out on poor OMG by absolutely annihilating them at almost every point in this first game.
It's just so tough for them to strike back, because even if you want to look for Flandre or his weak siding, the vision is just there for them. Everything is there to make sure OMG is not going to be able to look for anything, but Meiko's going to look for something.
They're gonna all look for something. Aki, he's got the protection of cold, but cold is not really hot this game. They had to completely bail, and now this could be the final fight already. Just at the 20-minute mark, EDG are threatening to end this game. They already are posturing like they want to win.
I feel like they're rushing a bit here, EDG. Yes, it's 20 minutes into the game. Yes, you're this far ahead, but you're not going to be able to deal with those Nexus turrets just yet. You need more pressure. You need more winning waves to come in.
Ooh, they look like they wanted to deal with Creme. They had popped the battle song, but instead, they're just going to turn back, continue to get more and more gold, push back in OMG, back again towards another inhibitor turret, this time the bot lane.
It's just so tough for OMG. At least they're getting some extra gold value from the super minion. So every time one of these super minions come in, if you want to push some extra gold into someone, well, that's 390 gold that you're getting. That you would normally just have been a normal minion wave, of course. So that is at least a silver lining you get there for OMG. But let's be honest, they're 10,000 gold behind. 21 minutes into the game. This is all on EDG to make a mistake. There is nothing OMG can do out of their own to get back into this game. They obviously they need to find the correct catch. Obviously they need to get one of these shutdowns, one of these key members. But EDG is making it so damn hard. It would be a mistake for EDG to do it.
It would be a mistake from EDG, but it would look fun, it would look flashy, and it would look crazy. Here, they're just making sure that they can push back in. OMG will feel forced to look for a fight, but you cannot feel forced to look for a fight against this EDG, not when they're this far ahead. New felt the brunt of the damage, and now Flandre looking to be able to drag back in Abel. Abel is just forced completely away, and he can do nothing. Aki, Creme, the mid lane duo that has been tearing apart the LPL are getting torn apart themselves. EDG at 22 minutes into the game. They don't even need a Baron to be able to win this one outright. Creme trying to be able to escape from Viper, but he's killed at the steps of his own fountain, and game one is picked up by EDG.
Just an absolute crazy first game we get here from EDG. We thought this might have been close. We were talking about how both teams here excel in some of these team fight scenarios. Well, OMG, they never got to a point where they were capable of team fighting. EDG with an iron grip just take over every minute and second of that game. There's nothing for OMG to get.
That game was pretty much a showcase of why EDG are, probably without a doubt, one of the best teams that we see in the LPL. Even after their loss against Top Esports, you can see how they're able to bounce back from a loss where both games went to 40 minutes in that series. Here, they just put on a showcase of how to play early, how to get these leads, and how to snowball where nobody can touch them.
And that's what we talked about in the pre-game about EDG as well. Of course, we didn't expect it to be this soon into the game when it was happening. But just take a look at that goal difference over time. Just take a look at that minute mark. We're looking at 22 minutes into the game. And this was the outcome. There is no stopping them at any point in time. Yeah, it looked like at points they were getting caught off guard, but they kept turning that around. I think Jiejie was the only one who made a mistake around the top side of the map where they overstayed, and outside of that, there were no other plays for OMG to punish. It was just EDG from the get-go, taking over the game, and you can see it from the gold graph. The damage not even that high, because we're only 22 minutes into the game. We haven't gotten to a point where you can get past that 20k damage minute mark, whatever you want to call it.
And I think this is why EDG are the best team right now, is even with Jiejie getting caught out, even with the mistake, every other lane was winning. Every lane for EDG was able to get their own leads that it didn't matter. So when they were able to regroup as one unit, there was nothing OMG could do.
And yeah, you said it yourself, there's just nothing they can do. They need to find better early game leverage going into the next game. Let's be real, that Trundle pick, it sucked. There is nothing for it to do. It never got what it wanted out from the out against the Xin Zhao matchup. Usually the idea of that matchup is that, okay, I'll scale better than you because when you jump in, I'll steal your resistance. Well, newsflash, you're not going to be able to scale if he just takes over the entirety of that early game together with the Lulu. So either you deny it or you go for some other early game picks to actually make use of it. The split map scenario that happened for OMG didn't work out for them either. They wanted to play bot side, well, that just helped the side of EDG, who could just play towards the top side for Flandre. Everything OMG tried in the early game just went wrong, and they need to go back to the drawing board.
And the drawing board, they'll have plenty of time because we got a break all lined up. We'll be back for game number 2.